Few things bring out a big crowd of contenders like an open congressional seat, especially when it's one like in Maryland's 5th, where Steny Hoyer is retiring after a long career on Capitol Hill. So we've been talking with some of the candidates on the Democratic side. One of them right here in studio tonight. He's the former Prince George's County Executive, Rushern Baker, up late with me tonight here on the Final Five. Welcome back to Fox 5. It's good to see you again.
Well, it's good to be back here. Thanks for having me.
Okay, let's talk about it. You have a building right behind you where it seems like nothing's going right now,
right.
And nothing's happening. So why do you want to join what many people think is a dysfunctional body?
Well, that's exactly the reason. You know, I was looking at, I've served as county executive, also served in the state legislature, but getting things done. I bring the experience to this race that I think the other candidates don't, and something that Steny Hoyer had, and that is being able to get stuff done during the period when Trump was president. I was county executive. We built a hospital. We brought the Purple Line in. We got the FBI, and then we lost it, so I'm going back on Capitol Hill to make sure that we can get it back here.
How much of that factored into your decision? Because, again, there was so much happening in Prince George's County, and still is at this point right now, but that seemed to be so important and a major victory for Maryland altogether.
No, it was a big factor in me deciding to run. As I told you off air, I'm getting married, so I had a lot of things going on this year. But the fact that we not only lost the FBI, those men and women of the FBI aren't going to have the place that they need to be, but also in Prince George's County, you talk about federal jobs, you talk about the cost of living. We need somebody who can go to Capitol Hill and immediately get things done. That's why Steny was so important. And so the next person filling that seat has to have that experience to get things done.
What's issue one, you think, for voters, not just going into the primary, but in that midterm election in November?
I think the critical issue is the economy. People are concerned. The cost of living is too high. You think about people are afraid that their children aren't going to be able to afford housing. You talk about health care costs, something I know about. You talk about electricity. You know, the bills that are happening, electricity bills in Prince George's County and in Calvert County and places throughout the 5th District are too high. So it's somebody who's going to come in there and actually talk about the issues affecting us while not getting us into undeclared wars and illegal wars like Trump is doing. So I think that's the #1 issue. And then the other is health care.
You mentioned serving in the House of Delegates, but as a two-term county executive, and then going back to a legislative body, do you feel like as an executive, as a leader, that might be a bit of a shift for you?
No, I think it allows me to get things done. Having seen it from both the legislative level, but then being county executive and knowing the impact that the federal government has on us. We wouldn't be able to build the Purple Line if it wasn't for federal funding. We wouldn't be able to have built a hospital in Prince George's County if it wasn't for the federal impact. And you think about jobs at the federal level, they affect us in this 5th congressional district more. And so as somebody who's actually had to do it and deal with it, I understand what needs to happen on Capitol Hill on day one to make sure that we fight for the men and women who live in our district.
Something that Congressman Hoyer did a couple of years ago was step back from leadership because there were these calls for a new generation of Democratic leadership, and now he's retiring. So when you look at his legacy, what has he done right? Are there things that you would do that might be different than what Steny Hoyer would have done?
Well, I think the things that he's done right is support us at the local level and really just be the kind of character that we want to see in our elected officials. I have known him for more than 30 years. He is a stand-up elected official. The thing I think I bring differently is just that the experience of actually being a county executive. So if you look at somebody like Johnny Goshevsky, who's up there, or the former county executive, Angela Alsobrooks, we bring what it takes to actually run a government. We know what we need to help folks back home. And I think that's the experience that I bring that the other candidates don't do.
People certainly know who you are. They've known your time, your service in office. You've gone before the voters a couple of times over the last few years for governor, for county executive. Certainly you were elected the first 2 times. They decided to go in a different direction the last time. So how do you make that case? How do you close the deal this time around?
Well, I think what you said is just the reason why we're leading in the polls. So we have recent polls will show I have a significant lead over the rest of the field.
I've seen the poll. That is correct.
That's right. So the people of Prince George's County know me, but also the people of Charles County, St. Mary's County, Calvert County, Anne Arundel, because I did run for governor. And so I think it's that trust there of having someone someone who has experience, and someone who can go up there immediately and make a difference, because that's what Steny Hoyer did.
As you travel that district, as you mentioned all those counties out there, I mean, is it the same? You mentioned the economy. Is that the main concern countywide, or how do you adjust it if you're campaigning in Charles County, for example?
I think it's the same thing, but the other issue that comes up a lot, and I think this is what you'll hear from folks, is pushing back on this president and pushing back on a loss of democracy. People expect Congress to push back. There has to be a check and balance. So I think along with the economy, along with health care, is democracy. Who's going to go up there and who's going to have the gravitas to actually push back on some of these things that are happening?
What's the website for people who may not know who you are?
It's rushernbaker.com. So please go there.
We're going to keep following this race, and of course we'll stay tuned as the primary nears, and we look forward towards November, whoever the nominees may be. Great to see you again.
Always
we appreciate
good to see you. Thank you.
And stick around. We're back after this on Your Final Five.